Howdy, all you delicious people. I am here today to say, man, another episode of The Masked Singer. Ultimately, I don't know if we're going to get episodes every week, but because ultimately, whatever is going on. Um, I'm hearing some shows shutting down production. I heard, I think the Batwoman show might be shutting down production because of the whole coronavirus thing. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% about that, and I didn't go out of my way to search and check that out. Via word of mouth, that's kind of what I heard. Um, so yeah, I don't know if a lot of shows are shutting down. I know the Masked Singer shoots ahead of time. I know they kind of shoot a number of episodes beforehand. So that's why whenever you would get like a two hour episode, which probably wasn't planned to be a 2 hour episode, that's kind of why it's kind of edited very weird, as if they weren't planning on it being 2 hour episodes. Is because they shoot ahead and then they realize, oh, we should make this thing more important, so make it a 2 hour special. And yeah, so some of these episodes are probably shot a lot of times ahead of time. So in your mind, probably think of just like maybe the judges doesn't get enough time to marinate and figure out and guess and whatever because they just don't have enough time to. Anyways, yeah. So the Swan had gone home tonight. I'm not going to tell you who it is until the end of the video. Feel a little relief that you won't get spoiled about who this is till the end of the end of the video. I'll give you a double 5 count, then we'll get into spoilers about the show, and then I'll do a season recap. But my guessing on who these characters are may have slightly changed, but not really. Ultimately, if you guys have a better guess, let me know in the comments below. Because there is, for me, like, I don't know everything about music or celebrity or what have you. So if you have a better guess of who you think any of these people are, the Swan going home ultimately eliminates guessing on that person. If you knew who that person is, bravo to you. But I'm gonna go through and mention if I know that person or not, and how I know that person at the end of the episode, and then I'll of course do a season recap of just like, just okay, things are just they're going the way they are, and so reasonably by far. Let's go through the guessing. Reasonably, my guessing from last episode really hasn't changed much. Dark Angel, or yeah, Dark Angel, or yeah. I'm still guessing her as Taylor Dane, or maybe one of the Dixie Chicks, even though there was a mention of an empire and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry, anybody could build an empire. If they've been around long enough, anybody could build an empire. Like, this kind of guessing isn't hugely like there's nothing about any of the stuff that the Dark Angel mentioned that really stuck out in my mind this time around. So I'm still thinking that it's Taylor Dane or maybe one of the Dixie Chicks. For the astronaut, I'm still probably more much so thinking that it's Hunter Hayes. I can't really think of any ways of which that it's not Hunter Hayes, because I can't think of anybody else. For the Rhino, I am still kind of going with Tim McGraw. A lot of people might also think that it's Jason Aldean, and I guess you can kind of make that clue as guess as well. Like I said, if there are better guesses or like guesses that kind of allude to clues, let me know in the comments below. For the Swan, I don't know. I went with Bjork because I just thought it would be funny if it was Bjork, and then Bjork really loved Ken for some reason. So ultimately, I was like, wouldn't it be fun if it actually was Bjork? I also was thinking Kesha, kind of like in tone, the Swan did sound like Kesha, because ultimately I was thinking Well, one of Kesha's albums is called Rainbows, and there was mention of rainbows and magic and all this other stuff, and it was just kind of like, okay, um, maybe this is Kesha at the end of this. The T Rex is maybe quite possibly Julian Huff. I'm still assuming that it could be the host of America's Got Talent or one of the dancing people on Dancing with the Stars that's known for being on there. I was also hearing in clues. I was hearing Bumblebee. I was hearing One Hit Wonder. I was hearing all this stuff. Kind of made me maybe guess that it could be Haley Steinfeld if I even spelled out in any of these names correctly. Uh, Haley Steinfeld had been the person that had been on the Bumblebee movie, and kind of after that she's been an afterthought, because yeah, it's a Transformers movie. People who do those movies don't have a jumping off career a lot of the times. um but yeah, that's what I kind of assumed could be Haley. But if you guys have any better guesses of any of these people, let me know in the comments below, because a lot of times it could allude to a lot better clues. At the end of the day, I just want to say that yeah, these guesses are still up in the air. If there's more things that seem more concrete in your mind, take the time to comment down below. But yeah, a lot of this is all review. There's not much to really keep going through. Again, um, I honestly am drawing a blank a lot of the times with this group, and more than likely, who gets revealed as these people might reflect that. Because I'm not good with country singers, or I'm not good with kind of very much all the people that are kind of tied into Group C. Because a lot of them are either young stars or they're stars and I'm just like, I don't know who this is. So yeah. Anyways, now that I've guessed all who I thought who this all was, and I did it in a fairly quick notion because you know what? Yeah, it's all review at this point. So I guess I'll point out eventually who the Swan is. I won't mention who it is um, right now, but I think it's that time again to show you who the Swan is, because ultimately I have not much to say. I honestly think the best performance of the night was honestly Rhino. I think, like, looking back on it, the only recognizable like person that I really enjoyed was the Rhino. I think everybody else was just kind of like meh. Like a lot of it was just like meh. Either a lot of these people like aren't familiar with how to perform within their costume, or they can't really see that well, or something. I don't know. But yeah, it just kind of really shows that it's like these a lot of like there's very few performers that are in the costumes that either can perform or want to perform. So I don't know. The episodes just kind of a lot of the times just kind of fall flat because like there's very few times where I'm just like, man, that was a good performance. I don't know what it is. Like I remember, like the White Tiger was kind of like, if anything, if he couldn't sing, like at least he was really getting the audience really jazzed. Like I think the Rhino was the same case where everybody was like, yeah, like really getting into it, but or maybe like the banana every once in a while would deliver that, but other than that, there's not much to really say besides just like the only performance that really like was interesting to me was the Rhino. Other than that, everybody else was kind of just there to sing another song. If anything, I did really like the astronaut was singing a Stevie Wonder song, "Signed, Sealed, Delivered." I really enjoy that song. But yeah, other than that, not much to say beyond that. So I guess it's that time again to spoil who the Swan is. You can note if I was right and or wrong. Ultimately, I have a strong belief that either way, I'm just kind of still doing well for the season. So, spoiler time. Spoiler time. It's that time again to spoil the show. If you don't want to know who the Swan is, because ultimately you don't want to get spoiled, you'd rather watch the show via Hulu or any other avenue of which you can do so, go ahead and do that. Click off here. And most of the time, most of these picks for me could be just a review. So some of these kind of after the thought shows aren't really that thoughtful because most of my guesses have not really changed. So I am going to click on who the Swan is. So we are going to do that right now. Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne. And a lot of people might be saying Bella who? Because ultimately, they may not be familiar with this actress. She is very young. She's an actress, model, and author. A lot of people might be going Bella who because they don't know who this is. Ultimately, I will break it down for you in the easiest way possible to know who this is if you do not know who she is. Ultimately, when seeing her, I was just like, why does she look so familiar? Like, God, I think I've seen her somewhere, and I was trying to figure it out. I was not thinking in a million years that it was Bella Thorne because I didn't even really know really who Bella Thorne honestly was. Bella Thorne is not a household name, but if you have a streaming service, you probably might know who this person is. Um, yeah, Bella Thorne. Nobody would much know who this person is, except for maybe Ken Jong, because everybody else is like, I don't know who this is. I'm gonna let you know who this person is if you weren't familiar with them. Maybe you've seen something casually through a Netflix service that you're like, oh yeah, that girl, or I still don't know who this is. But ultimately, I'm going to give you some movies to see that are actually pretty good that you can actually watch and see Bella Thorne. Reasonably, I honestly know I've seen both The Babysitter and You Get Me. I've seen both of these movies on Netflix. You can currently see them on Netflix because they're Netflix films. Reasonably, if you see any one of these movies, you've seen Bella Thorne. Those are the only ones that kind of strike out to or strike to me that I've seen Bella Thorne. Other than that, everything else that is kind of listed, like her being in Scream, the show. If you've seen Scream the show, maybe you've seen Bella Thorne at points. Uh, Other than that, there's nothing really like fully recognizable that I could recognize her from, other than the two movies that I've listed here. But if you haven't seen these two movies are actually pretty good. Um, they're very much like edge of your seat kind of movies. The Babysitter doesn't seem like that, but ultimately, towards the kind of the longer involved that this film is, it does get into that case. But yeah, and evidently there's gonna be a Babysitter 2 coming out, which I'm like, why? Because I couldn't justify there being a sequel to that movie, but I guess there is one. So, um, yeah, that is Bella Thorne for you. Mostly recognizable for a very small portion of movies, but evidently she had worked with Kim Jong. I know Kim Jong has kind of dipped into doing some Netflix films. I saw him in Saving Zoe, I believe. Um, he was in that for a very brief time as a therapist in that movie. So, yeah. Not that the movie was really that uh like, oh, I you need to go see Saving Zoe because Ken Jong's in it. Not really. But anyways, yeah. That's Bella Thorne for you. Honestly, don't know much about Bella Thorne beyond just that. So yeah, I've seen her, but would I have thought that she was gonna be on The Masked Singer? No, because I barely knew who she was. So I think it's that time again to do a seasonal recapping of how well or good I have not been doing so far. So now, if you guys don't want to know who's been all unmasked through this entire season because you want to catch up on certain episodes, now is your time to go. But if you just kind of want a fun seasonal recap of how I've kind of been doing well or not so well this season, ultimately this is another loss in my book. But ultimately, how many people know Bella Thorne? Not a lot. So ultimately, like, I could take this as just like, well, F it. Like, I'm not going to know everybody, or if I do, it's going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen this person, but I didn't think she would be on the show, or he would be on the show. So, seasonal recap right now. So yeah, so far, I've only gotten 3 incorrect. Of course, if you checked out last week's The Masked Singer, or you ended up getting spoiled about it, because ultimately you couldn't kind of avoid hearing that Sarah Palin was the bear, because you just couldn't avoid it. Like, Google was mentioning it, the news was mentioning it. You realistically could not avoid hearing the results of this show somewhere. Tony Hawk was one, of course, that I'd gotten wrong, and of course, this week I'd gotten Bella Thorne incorrect, because ultimately I'd watched some films of hers, but ultimately I didn't really know her. I didn't really think she would be on the show. So you know what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, when still looking at it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correct, and I have 3 incorrect. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I could just say that, like, well, if anything, if I get 2 more incorrect, I'll be 50-50 for the season. But ultimately, I'm still assuming that I'm probably going to get more right this season than wrong. I have a strong belief that I can ultimately still get more correctly. And I realize now that I said Dark Angel instead of Night Angel, because freaking this Angel character, good God, she needs. She has, like, just give her one name. Don't give her Night Angel, Dark Angel, Death Angel, whatever angel. Give her, just say that she's an angel. Don't, like, God, what a confusing name. Like, White Tiger, easy to remember. Freaking, like, Astronaut, easy to remember. T-Rex, easy to remember. Everybody, easy to remember. How can you remember Night Angel? Night Angel, Dark Angel, Angel, Flangel, what? Just say that she's Angel now. Just call her Angel. Good God, because ultimately nobody's gonna remember Night Angel. It's just not gonna happen. It's not easy to remember. Just call her Angel. Just make it easier, because people are gonna f that up all the time. But yeah, it's just there's not much to say about this episode. There's not much to go through and say to you that, like, oh well, another one wrong, another one bites the dust in my mind. But in time, I feel like I probably have the turtle right. I feel I probably have the astronaut right. I feel that I have at least maybe White Tiger rights, that's 3. I have the frog right, that's 4. I have the banana right, that's 5. Kitty, no clue. Rhino, maybe. T-Rex, maybe. Swan was wrong. Yeah. Night Angel, no effing clue. So, reason I have about 5 that I could probably say is correct, and who I'm still unsure about is the kangaroo, Kitty, and Night Angel. Probably T-Rex, and Rhino. So ultimately, at the end of the day, like if I get 5 guaranteed correct and I get 5 guaranteed wrong, I will still be 2 up. So ultimately, like I can still feel that I can have a winning season unless something goes horribly awry. Um, so at the end of the day, if people know who the kangaroo is, people know who the kitty is, people are sure who the rhino and T Rex and Night Angel are, then at the end of the day, I could say that I'm going to be winning this season. Um, I don't think that my answers, like the more and more I watch the show, the more that I think my answers could quite questionably be correct. Um, but yeah, again, it comes down to comments. If you guys want to comment, say no, this is clearly this person, or oh, the guess of this person seems more correct. I'll throw that in as a guess because ultimately, why not keep options open to be able to like, yeah, maybe it is this person. It does sound more better to have it be this person than anybody else. But again, I think I still have a pretty good winning season right now. So um, ultimately, meaning that I guess more right than incorrect because I'm not going for guessing everybody correct. But at the end of the day, I just want to say anything can happen. Definitely let me know who the kitty is if you guys have found more clues about the kitty because I've kept going with like Kira Knightley. I've also wanted to throw in maybe Nicole Richie in there as well because ultimately there's a lot of clues going around that saying that it could quite possibly be Nicole Richie. Um, yeah, other than that, I don't have much to really say about who the guessing is. Um, Probably the kangaroo. I'm not familiar with that person under the mask at all, especially whoever the internet chose. But other than that, yeah. Especially let me know if you think the Night Angel, any of my clues could be correct or could be different. I think they are going with the girl from Empire, the girl that played Cookie, which I've seen the Empire show. I don't think it could be that, but ultimately, if you guys think, oh no, yeah, it could be that person, then yeah, I'll throw the guess up. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna call this one a wrap because there's not much to really say. It's a recap episode about people that I've already seen. So, anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.